All right, so let's have a look at my transom wheels. These are Brocraft. Let's see, it's kind of hard to see there. The lighting's not right. So Brocraft transom wheels. And here's my transom bracket, transom wheel bracket mount. So the marine sealant adhesive should be pretty much cured now. It's a little bit soft. It feels like caulking, basically. That's what it is, right? It's basically caulking. So it's been, I think, about 24 hours, and the direction says it takes about 24 hours to cure, but it's been kind of cold, so it's gonna probably take a little bit longer than that. But anyways, so let's look at how I have it set up and why I chose what I did and why I set it up the way I did. So here's my transducer, fish finder, depth finder. So the water line is, so I don't know, it's probably somewhere around here somewhere, or maybe I don't know, somewhere around here. So one of the things I wanted was that I wanted to make sure the, wherever holes I drilled was as much above the water line as possible. So I don't want the thing to be all down in the water too much. Even though with the sealant and the gaskets material here, it doesn't leak, but over time, you never know, shit happens over time, things degrade over time, right? So that's one of the reasons why I chose this particular setup. This mounting bracket here is actually shorter than some of the other ones. The Brocraft makes more than one model of this of their transom wheels. So I actually originally had the one with the bent arms. This one, if you look at the arms here, these are straight arms. Originally I had the one with the bent arms where the wheels, when you fold it down, the wheels were more tucked underneath. So these ones, it's basically like that, right? The original one I had, the wheels were actually tucked further underneath, so it actually supported the rear a little better that way. Puts less weight on you when you're holding it from the front, and when you flip it up, so these ones obviously they're gonna go straight up, or the wheels will be straight up. Those other ones, the wheels were kind of out like this because the arm was bent. So that one had a longer. This bracket right here was a lot longer. It was like a couple inches longer. So the holes were, it was definitely in the water line or below the water line. If those wheels would have worked out, I would have been fine with using that. But they didn't. They basically, the wheels were basically in the way of my outboard, and I have a small tiny little outboard, so it was still in the way of my outboard. I couldn't get the full rotation of the outboard, full turn, steering turn of the outboard. So I was looking at various different wheels set up. I wanted to stick with the bigger wheels because it's easier to, this is a 12-inch diameter tire here, basically, I think. So I wanted to stick with bigger, and also pneumatic's a little bit lighter and it floats, but also the bigger, the bigger diameter and wider tire, they could float over soft surfaces there, like sand, you land on the sandy beach. It's easy to drag it up and down the beach on the sand with this than smaller wheels and thinner wheels. So I was looking at whatever was available, and anyways, pretty much all of them, most of them anyways, I should say, the mounting holes were below, either at the water line or below the water line. So I wasn't really fond of that, but I would have been okay with it if the wheels cleared the outboard. But looking at this size wheel, that's so big that no matter how you configure it, it wouldn't clear the wheels. Or at least on the ones that I saw that were available to me anyways. They wouldn't clear the wheel because they're all pretty much the same design, more or less. So I would have to take off the wheel. I was looking at it, I'm like, man, if I had to take off the wheel, I don't want to deal with those other ones because those other designs, they have like a pin that goes through that holds it, and the pin goes through, and there's another pin, like a coddle pin, that holds that. So that way that pin that holds it doesn't you don't actually then lose it, it doesn't slide out, right? So you have basically two pins. You have the coddle pin and you have the holding pin. So you got two pins in your hands, potentially you could drop one or whatever, or both. That was like, that was like too much. So for this one, this design doesn't have that. This design is like this push button, both sides push button, and it stays there, so it doesn't move anywhere. So even if you drop this in the water, it's not gonna sink because it's pneumatic. At least I don't think it's gonna sink. I haven't tried it sticking it in the water yet. I should stick it in the water just to see. And it's so big, you're not gonna easily lose this. If you drop it, you could just reach down and grab it real fast because it's so big. It's not like a little pin that's once you drop it, it's gone forever. So that's why I'm like, oh, I saw that, and also I also noticed that the bracket here was actually shorter too, so I was able to basically get it above the water line. So if I were to mount it, let's take this apart. I think this doesn't need to be there anymore. It's been about 12 hours. 24 hours. So the bracket here. So if I had to take it off, I wanted to take it off easy. Will I just squeeze it and squeeze it? I don't have to play with any, fit around with any pins. Putting it down like so. And here I easily have, 2 knuckles. I could pass my 2 knuckles easily. So that's over 1.5 inches right here. So that's plenty of space for clearance. So this is a soft bottom, so potentially it could sag a little bit if there's water in there or whatever. So there's plenty of space there. I'll leave the mounting hole for down here, the bottom mounting hole is above the water line. Since I'm not gonna flip it up, using it in the flipping up motion, flipping up side. So if I flip it up like so, that I'm not gonna use it in this orientation because this bar here is still in the way of the outboard, and also it kind of does this to the splash guard gusset right here. So I don't like that. So my plan is just to remove this all the way. So since I'm going to remove out of the way, I want that easy on off, right? Easy on off. So let's say if I was in a down position, moving it around, all I need to do is just do that and that. While I'm in the boat, obviously I'm going to be on the other side, but that's easy. That's better than fiddling around with pins and losing pins, right? So that was basically those are my reasons. Get it above the waterline, keep this compact, and I also mounted the way where I mounted. Again, that was to keep it out of the waterline, and I'm using the 2 middle holes. That's where it gives it a perfect clearance. I could have screwed this thing up a little bit more, instead of using the 2 middle holes, I could use the 2 top holes. But if the bracket was where it is, if I used the 2 top holes, I wouldn't have any clearance here. It would hit here. I wouldn't be able to attach it in. That means I would have to set this bracket lower down by by 1 inch or 2 to get clearance here. So that means the bottom mounting hole would be lower, and it would be in the water line. So I didn't want to do that. So that's why this thing is like basically as high as it could be, right there. So yeah, so that's my Brocraft setup, and why I chose this particular model. So it should be on that wheel should be on the outside. That way, it gives you a little bit wider stance, gives you better balance that way. All right, so it's like so. It's like that. So I have plenty of clearance for the transducer. When the transducer is down, right, my outboard's gonna be right here. I will have plenty of clearance for that. And the propeller actually sticks. The propeller, if you look right here, the propeller actually is probably about right here. So it sticks a little bit past the wheels, which is fine. I mean, it's a small outboard. Anyways, so it's no big deal. This boat could actually, I think this boat, they say the maximum horsepower is 15 horsepower for this inflatable. And my outboard I have is right now is a 2.5 horsepower. So I'm actually I plan on putting a 6 horsepower in here. I don't want to go any bigger than that because any more than 6 horsepower is just too heavy. It's too heavy for me to lug, take off every time and throw it in the back of my truck. That's just too much work. So 6 horsepower is the most I'm willing to go. 6 horsepower is actually about, I think it's about 60 pounds for the Yamaha 4-stroke single cylinder. I have the 2.5 right now, 2.5 horsepower. That one is about 40 pounds. So double. I'm over double the power with just an extra 20 pounds. If I go any bigger than that, it becomes a two-cylinder, and that actually becomes like 100 pounds. So you're looking at from 60 to like 100 pounds. So that's just too much, lugging around 100 pounds. You might not seem that much if you're only carrying it like a few feet. That's fine, but you have to carry it, more than a few feet. And also at the end of the day, where you're exhausted, you've been fishing all day or whatever, climbing all day, you're exhausted. You don't want to be lugging around a 100-pound motor off the boat and onto the back of the truck. So keeping it lighter. My transducer. I think that's it. So that's my my setup, and why I picked this particular model, because it's easy on off. The mounting bracket is above the water line. The mounting hole, I should say, is above the water line, or it should be. The last time I was in the water, I should have looked exactly where the water line is. I think the water line is probably about just above this material, this PVC material here. So I think the water line's like about right here, so it's like above this material, but it's actually below the mounting bracket. So obviously water's gonna splash up, a lot higher. But I believe the water line is about right here. So let's see. Yeah, I think that's it. So that's my setup. I don't think I'm doing anything else to this. Well, actually I might put on some D-rings. This thing doesn't have any D-rings inside, so I'm gonna put on some PVC little patch of D-rings towards the front, I think, so that way I hold my hold stuff. There's like literally nothing in here. I'm gonna put more of these. I bought some more of these little things, so I'm gonna put it up on the inside here towards the front, so that way when I put stuff up the front, 'cause that's where I want to carry things. So it has better balance. Put up in the front here, and with those D loops up here, it could kind of I could bungee it, and everything stays up towards the front. So yeah, so that's my setup for now. And that's all I'm doing. I had originally planning on putting on like mounts for like a putting on mounts for like a fishing rod holder and all this other stuff, but you gotta glue that stuff on. But the problem with those things is that those mounts are mostly flat, and this thing is round, and I don't think it's gonna last very long because of that. And it won't be able to stick on properly. It won't have the full contacts. So I decided against that. I also wanted to do that with the up here too. I wanted to put a handle. I wanted to put the handle down here, but obviously this is in the way, so I can't put the handle down here. So I was gonna put a handle up right here. But this is also round, and those at least the handle that I've seen so far it's just flat, so it won't be able to have the full contact. So I need to find something that's curved, so I can put a handle right here. That would be nice. That's about it. That's all I'm gonna do. So yeah, so that's my little inflatable. May need to get me out into the sandbar, I think, and just that coast, cruising right along the coastline would be kind of neat. Have a different perspective instead of being on land. All right, thanks for watching.